Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here for your DraftKings first look for Thursday across the NBA. We've got a 6-game slate. Before I get into those games though, hit the notification button, or hit the notification bell in fact, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up as well. Lots of things you can do to help support this channel. And now, let's talk about the games. The first game up, we're looking at the Dallas Mavericks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Kristaps Porzingis has missed the last 2 games. Maxi Kleber missed last game for Dallas. With those guys out, they've been starting Dwight Powell and James Johnson, although it's Willie Cauley-Stein who's been getting the bulk of those center minutes in that situation. Or that happened at least in the last game. In the first game, it was Powell who played more. Now, that's obviously a horrible matchup going against Joel Embiid. I think that Cauley-Stein might do a better job, but it really is a toss of the coin who would get that opportunity or who the bigger opportunity there against Embiid in that scenario. Now, Embiid comes in at 9,900. Now, I almost couldn't love that price anymore for Embiid. The dude is averaging, 60 points over his last 5 games? Like, why is that so low? That is an insane number. I know his last game had 39, but 54, 91, 63, 50, 54, 63, 53, like just insane numbers. What an absolute steal that price is. Jalen Brunson is at 4,600. This guy's getting a ton of run. Now, I don't think his upside is particularly high in this matchup just because, he's not going to get this huge usage bump or anything like that. But he is not a bad guy to look at. I think Doncic at 10.9 is okay as well, especially if Porzingis is sidelined, while Simmons is starting to come back to earth at 8,700. I think we can do better than Simmons at that salary, but he's not one to completely discount. And I think if we're looking for solid floor-type players, the thick hogsman Tobias Harris is at 8,100. I think 40 points for him is a reasonable expectation. I wouldn't be too excited about Finney-Smith. 8,000 for Porzingis is too high for me as well. While Cauley-Stein at 3,300, absolutely I would like that if KP does happen to be sidelined. But of course, at this point, we don't know that, and we also don't have any spread or total out for that game. The next game we take a look at is the Orlando Magic. They are taking on the Brooklyn Nets. This one in Brooklyn. No Kevin Durant. James Harden, 10,800. Man, DraftKings just wants us to load up on the excellent players, Embiid and Harden. If you can find a way to build a lineup with those 2 guys in, I reckon you're going to go all right. And in fact, his teammate Kyrie Irving at 8,900. Real 50-point upside for both of those blokes, and the salaries are super impressive. Nick Vucevic at 10,000, I'd be less interested if he wasn't playing Brooklyn. Now, Vucevic last game wasn't particularly good. Hurt his ankle, had to go to the locker room, still put up 42 points, but before that, 65, 75. He's close to a 50-point player most nights, and the fact that it's against the Nets is what gives it such a huge boost in value. So I do like him here, at least a little bit. Without Durant, we are seeing DeAndre Jordan play more, and he's at 5,600. We also don't know whether Jeff Green will play, and that helps Jordan. But Jordan's last few games, he's averaging almost 30 points over the last 3. At 5,600, there's not bad value. I'm not sure there's much upside, but it's not bad value. Bruce Brown's at 46. He has played really well in the games without Durant. It is hard to rely upon him because some of these big games come when he's shooting like 85%, a number which, of course, is completely unrealistic to expect as we move forward, but he's playing at a high level. 5,600 for Michael Carter-Williams is not a bad cash play, but I'd say the upside on that is pretty limited, while Terrence Ross at 6,700 looks way, way too high for me. Remember, the Nets did waive Iman Shumpert and Andre Robertson. They are going to re-sign them to 10 days apparently on Friday, but they will not be available for this day's this day's game. So just be aware that those, not that you'd be using them anyway, but just be aware that they won't be available to play here. The next game we look at is another New York battle. It's the Kings versus the Knicks. The Knicks favored by 2, the total 223 points here in this one. In terms of value plays, Elfrid Payton is doubtful. I don't know what Tom Thibodeau will do. Will he start Emmanuel quickly, or will he start old mate Derrick Rose? And at 4,600, I think you have to get onto the Rose bandwagon. He had 38 last game. He looked really good against the Warriors, but just the fact that they could start him and play him 30 minutes here is interesting. They could also throw Austin Rivers back into the rotation. He's a minimum salary player. I wouldn't get super excited about Rivers, but could he have 20 points? And at $3,000, that's at least something you have to look at. $7,800 for De'Aaron Fox, I think works okay for me as well. While Alec Burks at 42 is a GPP option, again, with Peyton out, just more minutes for the guards. You can throw Emmanuel Quickly in there. Do I trust Tom Thibodeau? Absolutely not. But Quickly could get 25 points. He could put up 30% usage, and he could have 30 points very, very easily. So I think Quickly is in play there. We know Hassan Whiteside is out for the Knicks, so that means more minutes for someone like Marvin Bagley. Probably 30 or so minutes for Bagley playing power forward and center, and recently his production's been all right, averaging 34 points over the last 5 games, so I actually think that he is worth a look. I'd be avoiding RJ Barrett. I think Holmes at 5,700 looks good. Hield at 61 is rough, and 6,600 for Tyrese Halliburton is obviously a lot, but Halliburton has been killing it. Let's put him into a lineup here and have a look. Look at this production from Tyrese. 52 and 48 the last 2 games. Now, prior to that, 32 and 20 is not ideal. And 66 is a lot for a guy that's not usually a high usage player. So I'm not super excited about using him, but with the way that he's been playing, he at least needs to be mentioned. The next game up, we look at the Clippers. They are taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Clippers are 7.5-point favorites, and the total is 221. Lou Williams rested last game. He should be ready to return in this one, while Dillon Brooks has missed the last couple with a quad injury. His return only complicates things for literally every other player. Melton, Jones, maybe not so Morant, Anderson, Winslow, Bane, Allen, all those guys could be impacted by the return of Dillon Brooks. Ja Morant's at 7,400. I do like that salary for Ja, who's still not at his best, but he's producing that level of value most nights, while Kawhi at 9,300 looks pretty good. This is definitely Thursday night, a night for the absolute studs, and Paul George at 88. Just tremendous value for both of those blokes. Valanciunas at 7,000 is probably one I want to leave alone. Same with Brandon Clark at 53 and Kyle Anderson at 62. But I think we have to pay some attention to Terrence Mann, who's getting rotation minutes ahead of Luke Kennard. He's playing well in those rotation minutes. He dropped 23 fantasy points last game, and he's almost a minimum salary guy. Now, Lou Williams returning does put somewhat of a limit on what he's able to do, but not someone to completely ignore if you're looking for a cheap guy to fill in a slot. 4,800 for Grayson Allen's absolutely no interest to me, nor is 6,100 for Lou Williams or 4,600 for DeAnthony Melton. This game, as I said, the Clippers 7.5-point favorites. Let's go on to the next one. We're looking here at the Washington Wizards taking on the Denver Nuggets. I think there is some blowout risk in this one. The Nuggets are once again without Paul Millsap, JaMychal Green, PJ Dozier, and Gary Harris, while Davis Bertans has appeared on the injury report as questionable for the Wizards. Big Chungus Nikola Jokic, another one. They just want us to play the studs. 10,400 for Jokic against this Wizards team whose defense is shitful, and he's averaging 57 points. Imagine Jokic going up against Mo Wagner. Holy shit. That could be absolutely massive. Zeke Naji's at 3,200. He played, 24 minutes for 17 points last game. Now, they didn't start him. They put Porter at the 4, which they should do. But Najee could be an interesting guy there, while Mickey Porter at 6,000. It's very hard to trust him, and he is a guy that is over-rostered in DFS almost every night. But that price and the role is just so appealing. The headmaster, Jamal Murray's at 8,400. He's been really good, averaging over 50 over the last 3 games. Do I want to spend 84 on him? Probably not, but I'm also not completely ruling it out, while I also love 9,200 for Battles Beal. This is a 50-point guy at 9.2. There's just a ton of value in him there. Westbrook's at 9.5, and he's also playing at a super, super high level. I'm not worried about the Nuggets defense being able to limit him, so I think he is absolutely someone to have a crack at. 59 for Hachimura can leave that, while Wagner at 36. Now, it's up and down with Wagner. You don't want to trust it in cash. But last game, he had 38 DraftKings points in 25 minutes. And at 3,600, you definitely want to have that at least in your player pool, at the very, very least. The last game of the night, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are 9-point favorites, so real blowout risk here, and the Pelicans on a back-to-back. The total is 240, and Drew Holiday is doubtful. Dante DiVincenzo's at $5,000. I like that cash value for DiVincenzo. 25 points, no problem. Yanni at 11,000. Now, given the pricing of some of the other studs, I think Yanni falls in a bit below those guys, but he's averaging 66.5 points in his last 5, which is obviously an absolute ripper of a number. That's 6x value. Can he do that against the Pelicans? No one's telling me he can't. Who's stopping him? So again, another absolute stud who's in play. 7,900 for Brandon Ingram. When I see Brandon Ingram under 8,000, I'm always interested. Therefore, I'm interested here. And the 86 for Zion, maybe it's a little bit high. I'm not certain on that for Zion Williamson. Lonzo at 6'3", also not really doing it. An 8'2" for Chris Middleton is probably somewhere on the high side. I think Josh Hart at 5,000 is a brilliant cash play with some some tournament upside as well. That'll do it for me today. 6 games on Thursday. Don't forget to sub, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me, hey, does it look like I'm naked wearing a pink shirt? So many people have told me that today. So drop a comment down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.